Hi Donna. All right, let's get to the bottom of this creating a test from tests that you already have on file. So I'm in your Section 1 Business Writing class, and I'm going to come down into Course Tools, Tests, Surveys, and Pools. Now here you can see that you have some tests already built. Test 1 for writing. There's a bunch of these other ones that don't really have anything to do with your class. And I'm going to take a look at your pools to see if you have anything there. Yep. All right. So if we are creating a test from a pool, okay, the very first thing that we're going to do is we're going to come back into Test, Surveys, and Pools, which is up here at the top. We're already in that section, and we're just bouncing between, and we're going to build a test. And I'm going to name this random test so I can delete it later. This is where you would put a description, chapter 3, and then instructions. You have 1 attempt. You know how to do all of this, but I'm just making sure I cover all the bases here. You can add as much or as little as you want to for those sections. And then click Submit. And now we can create a question, which is where we write our own questions, but you already have questions, so we want to reuse some questions. And we can create what's called a question set. This pops up a brand new window, and it's waiting. There we go. Now we are in this section right here where it says all pools and all tests. We don't want all pools and all tests. So I'm going to come down into pools. I'm going to use this little drop down menu, and I'm going to select no, I don't want that one selected. Now I'm just in all tests. So again, I'm going to come down to this test section and take that off. So now I have no questions here, which is exactly what I wanted to have. So if I am looking at this and I'm looking at, because we were saying chapter 3, I'm going to use this as an example, I can now select just the chapter 3 questions from this. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so we can see what we're doing. Here's our questions, and here are our question types. So we've got multiple choice, true and false, fill in the blank. And we've got 4 pages of this. If we click this Show All button, it will throw all of them on one page. So we've got multiple choice now, and I'm sure we're going to have some short answers in here eventually, maybe not. Does not look like it. And that's okay. We can also filter just by these question types, so I can now filter them so all the fill in the blanks are here, all the multiple choice. It goes in alphabetical order. And now, if I want to select some of these questions, this is the truncated text, so you can't see all of the question. I'm going to come down to full text. Now we can see the entire question. So I can go through and I can say, I like this one and this one. And down here you can see that now I have 2 questions selected on my test. So I can say, all right, I want multiple choice now. I'm going to select a few of these guys. And I'm going to go back to the Show All page so I don't have to go through all of the, comma splices. Got to love that. Which of the following contains no sentence faults? That's identification. We like that. So I can just pick up as many of these questions as I want based off of the criteria that I'm looking for. And now I have 10 questions down here. And when I'm happy with those tests, I could then hit Submit. And here are my question sets. So there are 10 questions. How many questions to display? It says currently 1. We can do all 10. And if we want all of these, so this would be all at once, if we want to make sure that currently each question is worth 10 points. If we want to reduce that, I would just collect this little check mark box and then put in 2 points per question, or however many you want, and then update. Now, all questions are worth 2 points, and this is now a 20-point quiz. So remember, this is called random test. When I'm all done with building it, I can come into OK. And here is my random test. Now, to make sure students can actually see this, because they don't have access to this, we're going to have to come into our assignments. And just like this test 1 that you have here, I can come in and let's see, let's pretend we're in week 12, so that way no students are going to be looking at this stuff just yet. So I'm going to come into my week 12 folder. There's currently nothing here. And I'm going to create an assessment. And it's going to be a test. From here, I select the test that I want, and then I hit submit. Once again, I can change as many of these parameters as I want. We want to make it available to students by making the link available. This is where we can set up how many times students can take the test, so we can just say unlimited, or they don't get multiple attempts. You can force the completion, so it has to be done all at one sitting, which means they can't start it here on campus and then finish it at home. They have to, wherever they sit down is where they set it, and then we can put a timer on it, display times, the due dates, and we want to make sure that this is included in the test score, the grade center. We can provide feedback to our students, so if we provide the score, they just get a score answer. You got 18 out of 20. If you select any of these guys, it will enable a look back at the test in Blackboard in the Grade Center. So students can go back into the Grade Center, click on their score, and an entire copy of the test with their submitted answers and the correct answers and any feedback will be there. So if this is a high stakes test that you're going to retest them on later, I strongly suggest that you do not give them any additional feedback. You can cover that in the class if you need to. You can have them see all of the questions all at one time, or you can make one question at a time. And then prohibiting backtracking means they can't remember something later and then go back and change an answer. When you're all done, you would hit submit, and then your test will be right where you asked it to be. So here is this random test. It is not available right now because I didn't want it to be. This isn't a real test in your class. So when you're building it, you can make sure it's available for the dates that you want. Right now, I'm going to come in and delete it so that your students don't get confused in the future. So I hope that helps figure out where you can find those questions, how you can add them to your tests, and then how to deploy those tests in your Blackboard shell. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to get in touch.